And so I want to say thank you to the panel, and that brings me to a really special moment to say for the vote of thanks. So when I came on board about 2.5 years ago, my predecessor went through a whole stack of business cards. She went, you don't need to meet him, you don't need to meet her, you don't need to meet him, and she pulled out this card and said, there's this guy, John Moro, right? He's a good guy. And he's really doing a lot for Auckland. You really need to catch up with him and keep close to him, because him and his team are doing some really good stuff for quality of life and delivering for Auckland. So I'm really delighted to welcome John Moro, Chief Sustainability Officer for Auckland Council, to give our vote of thanks. Kia ora.
Kia ora koutou, ko John Moro Takongoa, ko Takatoronga, hey Chief Sustainability Officer, aho. And I've never done a vote of thanks, so this is really fun. Can we Kane Williamson Andrew, please? So much so, he actually did the vote of thanks himself. So I don't know if there's actually much work that I need to do here, but I will just say a few words. I guess the simplest way to say a vote of thanks is to say, please vote, and thanks. And so vote on this plan, or this framework, actually have your say. It launches today, and we really need to hear it from you. We need you to tell other people about it. So vote on that. And we actually have an election coming up, and democracy is fundamental to how we win on climate change and how we win on density done well. So really take that seriously. I forgot my copy of the framework. Imagine the most beautiful looking framework. Oh, or Andrew. Look at that. So for those of you who came right in quickly for the drinks or for the camaraderie, you might have missed the booth that people were standing in front of saying, look, we're launching this thing today. And this is a first take. We've done this over 18 months with iwi, with central government, with businesses, with community groups, with rangatahi, with many of those in this room. And this is where we got to after 18 months of doing something quite differently. Usually this is when we start and we say, okay, have your say, we've done this thing in a big bunker, what do you think? We've actually worked quite extensively across thousands of people and organizations to put this together. So it's robust, it's been modeled, our C40 cities colleagues have looked at it. But of course we're not there yet, because some of you probably haven't seen this, and you need to. So please have your say, it's very easy, and join us actually in implementation. Actually, I think that's the most important thing, is how are we gonna get this done? So let me just reflect a little bit about what I heard here today. And there's a real connection to the key moves, and yes, they actually might be dance moves, the 11 key moves in the Climate Action Framework. So I guess first we heard from Otani, and as he does every time, he really nails it. It's a high energy day, so here we are, high energy. And what he said was, whenever winds blow our way, tomorrow's going to be a glorious day. This is dark stuff. I think the Grey Power person said really well, this was the world's most livable city when we kind of got here, and look what we've done to it. We need to keep optimism in mind. From my perspective, it's dark, it's real, we know what climate change is going to look like for Auckland over the next 100 years. It's not super pretty if we just sit back and let it happen to us. But it could be great, it could be amazing, it could be healthy and equitable and clean and wonderful if we actually kind of put some elbow grease into it. So I think Otani's start is really perfect. We can have a glorious day if we actually work our way there. Andrew, yes, this is the best Auckland conversation, so thank you for that. And then, words in the conversation around density, community, people, connection. I mean, these are the things that innately, I believe, humans want. It's why I can Kane Williamson you for being here tonight, is that we want to connect as people with ideas with each other. That's kind of what it's about. Dare I say, that's part of what life is about. So I think those themes came through loud and clear. We need to take those themes and that korero and actually instill that into the places we care about and into the fabric of Auckland. I heard, are we going in the right direction? Yep, or actually I heard, we're going in the right direction, which is comforting. I'd say, could we go faster? Can we dig deep? Can we actually double down on our efforts, because we need to be quite a bit bolder? I've heard about, from Pamela, these aren't new concepts. It's always healthy to remember we're not trying to reinvent how to do really complicated stuff, except for maths, I guess. And that was a home run. Is that the appropriate analogy? There's a real home run. The American in me says, you hit it out of the park on that one, Andrew. So these aren't new concepts. We just need to apply this locally to what we're doing here in Auckland. And that's tricky. but we're not inventing something from brand new. I think it's a really important point from Pam. I heard quite rightly from Waiata and from Pia, this is about friends, and it's the connections and the backyard and the people who will take care of you when you fall down that matter. That's right to the core. I heard from John about retooling the rules, kind of post-unitary plan. That was a big deal. It's a big deal for any city. But we're not done yet. Just like climate change, we've done a bunch of things. We're not there yet. We need to keep getting great and actually dial it down. I heard a little bit about reactivation from Waiata and Pia, and I just love the feeling about reactivating to restoring, not just doing things a little bit less bad, but actually really doing things well. I heard from Councillor Hull said, should I even be heard over 60? That's a gutsy thing to say in front of a crowd that includes some over 60 folks. I've got 17 years, or actually not quite, to get there, so I'm still relevant. But I think it's really important, or I guess you be the judge, have your say. I think it's really important to think, who are we hearing from? I'm out, thank you. Who are we hearing from? Who is representing the decisions that they get to make in really difficult seats? And is everybody represented? Are we representing people who don't actually have their say very often? We as council need to get better at that. We as a community need to help all of us get better at that. That was a really important point. We talked about the climate emergency, what happens now. I think that's actually a really important point. And boy, I've took so many notes, and you're thinking we could do it again. I'm doing it again. So I'll just sum up in a couple last points. Making density sexy. It's great to hear from Pia and Waiata about how to actually make it real and how to make it something that is not just not a dirty word, but something that's actually exciting. And as I turn my pages here, some great questions from the audience. I really want to Kane Williamson you all for some great questions about pocket parks, about design, about the quality of built materials. Sourced locally, great point. And actually some call, I think Pam helped us get there, to really call out what our role is as council, because we play a really big role here. Let's not undercook this. We actually hold a lot of the levers, and we need to pull them harder, maybe even in a different direction. But there's like a limited slice of what we can do. And one of those things we can do collectively is say, well, actually this is, and I'm not trying to put it on central government here, but a lot of these things funding-wise and decision-wise, like our building code, really come down to central government. So how do we as a collective say, dear government, now's the right time. The zero carbon bill closed yesterday for submissions. Hopefully people had their say. Now's the right time to actually give them the signals to make the tough calls. Let's do that together. So I think, yes, is it 88%? I think I have right in front of me that most of you are committed to the original question that we placed to you at the start. So that's great. I think what I take from that is at least 8 or 9 out of 10 of you have decided you're in this, you're with us. And so we need to be gutsy, we need to be appropriately humble about how we repurpose stuff and compassionate with each other, but we really got to go for this one because we don't get a second chance to deal with things like how we shape our city and how we deal with climate change. That's why hopefully some of us are here today. We need you, stick with us, and have your say. Thank you very much.